Hello, we'll be starting in 1 minute for now. It's almost 12 o'clock now. Okay, so let's start, everyone. I welcome you all again to this webinar. Today is the last day of our webinar, and today we'll be getting in touch with Firebase, and we'll see how to use Firebase and how to integrate Firebase with our Flutter project. I hope my audio is fine today. Just um, put okay. So I have an announcement today. Uh, from 12 of this month, we are also starting with a Java webinar. So in that webinar, we'll be having all the core concept of core Java, and also we'll be doing the advanced Java section, and we'll be also doing the JDBC stuff and all. And also in the last day, we'll be doing web automation using Selenium in Java. So if you guys are interested, you can also register in that. That would also be a very nice session. Okay, so I will share the information of that in our WhatsApp group. So if you have to join, or if your friends want to join Java, that Java webinar, you can tell them. Okay, so also the collection that the registration fees that we have for that, a portion of that goes to feeding the migrant workers that are stuck in our cities like Pune, Delhi, Mumbai. So that, so you can also indirectly contribute in that uh, contribute and do some good stuff in during this lockdown. Okay, so let's start today. Okay, today. Oh, what about Python? Python also, if you guys want, we can do go for Python also. But many people wanted to to do first the Java session, because most of the people think that Java is a very good language to get started. Python is also very good language, but I would not suggest, if you are beginner in programming, don't start with Python, because it is very easy to its syntax is very easy. So as a beginner, start with the tougher one, and then I think you should move to the other easy languages. Okay, so if you're interested, we'll share the share the information in our groups, so there you can see that. Okay, so let's start with today's agenda. Today, what we have today. Uh, I hope everyone tried out yesterday's project. I shared the link with you of that code. So I hope uh, someone's mic is on. Please, everyone, turn off your microphone. Okay. So okay, let's head over to Firebase and see what is Firebase. Okay. Uh, Firebase is nothing. It is a service that Google built upon their Google Cloud platform. If you know, the Google Cloud platform is a very major competitor in the cloud market. The first one is AWS, as you all must be knowing. There's Microsoft Azure, and also various other. IBM Cloud is there. Google Cloud Platform is also a very major competitor in the cloud market. So yeah, Firebase is a service that they built upon the Google Cloud Platform. And what Firebase does is it gives us a ready-made SDK for directly deploying our applications or websites, whatever we have, on their servers, instead of writing the whole backend code like in a very simple language. Firebase is something by using which we can uh, we can achieve serverless computing. That's what we is a very trending word in today's date. So serverless computing just means we don't have to maintain any servers. We don't have to write any backend code. We don't have to use any backend frameworks for doing that. Firebase Firebase gives us a ready-made SDK for doing that. We just have to make some queries in our Flutter app or whatever thing you're building with using Firebase. So we just have to use some queries and some pieces of code in our application, and that would directly get access to the cloud database of Firebase. Okay, it is very easy to get started. There is also one more service like Firebase. The AWS also recently launched Amplify. It is also a service like Firebase, but Firebase is there in the market from like 5 years now. So Firebase is uh, pretty stable, and it is pretty good. Various companies are using it. Okay, so Firebase offers is Firebase has these much of features. Okay, they give us a real-time database. We can do authentication stuff with it, cloud messaging, storage. Also, it gives us hosting, test lab. We can send our users notifications. Okay, if we have any regarding to our app, we can directly send them notification using Firebase. We can use remote config, app indexing. I like various things are there. The ad mob is also one of the major feature in Firebase. If you want to put up any ads in your application, so you can use ad mob. Okay, and you can also earn some revenue from your app if you want to do it. Firebase, see, the first thing I wrote is forget about infrastructure. We don't have to maintain any servers. We don't have to maintain any infrastructure. If we are going with Firebase, we just need our front end part design and some queries. By firing that queries, we can directly get do the read and write operations on that database. Okay, uh, we can work across platforms. Okay, with a single database. This is a very good thing that Firebase does for us. It helps us to have a integrity between all our platforms, may that be of iOS, Android, web, whatever platform we are having our app. We can have a uniform database for that. Okay, a single database for all that. We can yeah, scalability. This is also a very good point to note, that scalability, because uh, sometimes you must have seen, if like every time if you are in university or Pune University, it has an issue. Every time some results come out and some news comes out, when many people visit that site, its server gets down. Okay, because many people are visiting at that time, and the server is not scaling according to the users. Okay, so see, because see, consider if you have a very large application or website, in that case, if you have to take care of that thing, if the user base is increasing, if the traffic is increasing on our application, we have to take care that we are scaling up the servers, and if the traffic is down, we are scaling down the servers. So Firebase automatically does it. Okay, we get support or directly get the support of the Google Firebase team. Okay, analytics is also a very good feature. We can directly monitor our users, okay, across in our Firebase console. These are some features that I've written. I'll share this PPT. You just go through this. Okay, we just head to the Firebase website and see what what things we get in Firebase. Okay, this is how the Firebase website looks like. Okay, this is directly just opened up the console. Okay, let's see. This is the official website for Firebase. What about SQFlite? That method you mentioned, I told you you can use that SQLite dependency and you can directly retrieve data. But we are moving to a higher step. Instead of doing some local, instead of retrieving and creating data in our local database, we are directly hitting the data in the cloud server and getting the data from there. That is a like also for the database which Firebase has is a NoSQL database. If you are coming from a SQL background, you must have been familiar that tables and row structure that we have there. But here we have a NoSQL database. So think of it like MongoDB. If you have used MongoDB, MongoDB has a similar structure like the Cloudflare store, like Cloudflare store. So here we can directly scale our database. We don't have any joins, so that's the queries which we perform, that also becomes very faster as compared to a normal SQL database. Okay, so let me just add my account. Okay, so this is Firebase. See what they're telling us. We can build apps. We have these functions. Cloud Firestore is the cloud database that we'll be using. Okay, cloud functions, if you are not satisfied by the inbuilt function, you can also deploy your own functions. Okay, authentication is a service. Once we go to the console, we'll see all of these. Okay, so this is the thing. It is built upon the Google Cloud platform. Okay. Uh, so like let's just see how can we integrate this in our Flutter app. Okay, how can we integrate Firebase in our Flutter app? Just here you have this option of go to the console. Okay, just open this, and here I have few my older projects. Here you have this option to add project. Just add a project. Let me just start my. We'll do it later. Okay, you have to just give a project name. What should we name it? Let's name it practice. These, if you want to enable Google Analytics, we do not need it for now. Also you can enable it. It is a free service. Okay, this is that easy. We just have to go to the website and we can directly just give the name of our project, and we can directly directly create a Firebase project. Okay, this will take some time. Okay, uh, just continue. Okay, so this started. See, okay, as you can see, this is our Firebase console. Is this cost free of cost? No, obviously this is a paid service, but yeah, there's a free plan for this. I'll tell you about the pricings of Firebase. Okay, let's just go to the documentation. Here they have this pricing section. You can see through the price. See, this is the free plan. In the free plan we have this authentication. We can have 10K users per month. If it exceeds 10K, then we have to pay this $0.01. Okay, per user. Cloud Firestore, as you can see, we can have 50K read operations per day. That is free. Okay, after that we have to pay this $0.06 per 100K. Okay, we have this 20K right also. So like this is more than enough. You can also like think of running your app free of because 50K reads are very much, and that too per day. So this would be if you have a less user base, this could you can also use this in free. But yeah, after a point you have to pay. Okay, this is the whole price plan that they have. You can go to this their website and read this. Okay, this is very interesting thing. Okay, so here, okay, we have four options, four platforms they have given us, by which we can add our project. We have Unity. If you know Unity, Unity is a game engine. Okay, you can add our project in these four platforms. Web, we have Android, okay, we have iOS, and here we have this authentication section. In authentication, in the sign in methods, without any hassle, we can directly use many sign in methods we can use. We can use Google sign in, Facebook sign in, Twitter, GitHub, Yahoo, Microsoft, Apple. These are so many, these are more than enough. You'll if you are using this in our app, okay. The OAuth system, if you know, in which we directly tap on Google sign in and it directly selects our account, that also you can do it. You can just go here and enable this Google sign in, okay. You like, there are lots of things to explore over here, okay. This database, we have this Cloud Firestore database, okay. Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database, same as the MongoDB, okay. Sir, can we conduct a course on Unity? I'm interested. Okay, like if we have many people, we are open for everything. But only we have to see that how much people are interested in that stuff. For Java, we saw many people want to go for Java, and so that's why we are doing this. For Unity, we'll also do that if we get many registrations. If we think that we can get registration for that. Okay, so like let's just focus on this for now. Cloud Firestore is a real-time database, as they're saying, powerful queries and automatic scaling. I told you about scalability just before a minute, that if the user base is increasing, sometimes our server goes down, and that time you have to scale up the servers, and if the user traffic is low, we have to scale down. So we don't have to worry about these things in Firebase. Firebase automatically scales up and scales down according to the user base, or user base, or the traffic that we are getting on our application. Okay, we have storage over here. We have to enable all these services. I'm not. I created this fresh project, so this has nothing enabled. Okay, I have created one other project. I'll show you. Okay, so this is storage. We can directly store our large files over here. Hosting, we can directly host our our platforms over here. We can directly host our website, okay, from here without any hassle, okay. If you are planning to host any website, you can directly go to the Firebase hosting service, and you can directly do that. Functions, we can add our own function. For machine learning also, they give this ML kit, okay. If you want some chatbots or some facial recognition feature and all in your app, so they give you this ML kit. Here they have various very good functions that they have pre-built. You need not to have any previous experience in machine learning and all. You can directly use their inbuilt function over here. See, in this ML kit, we get this various functions. See, barcode scanning, face detection, test text recognition, landmark recognition, language identification. Smart reply means, no, you in many apps you have an automatic chatbot, so that replies automatically. So you can do that using this ML kit. If you want that kind of chatbot in our app, okay, you can use this ML kit. This is ready made. You don't have to do any machine learning stuff for this, okay. We have this function Crashlytics, okay. If we can directly analyze if any of our users are having any bugs in their application, okay. Performance, we can also see our app's performance, how it's performing, okay. Test lab, we can directly do this A/B testing and all. Over here we get this robotest, which would automatically test our app, and if it will report us if we have any bugs in our app, okay. Predictions and all, this is also very analytics. We have various functions, okay. We can directly see audiences over here. We can directly see in the globe, it like gives us a map, and there we can see where our users are located, okay. So yeah, there are lots of things over here, extensions and all. You can go through this, okay. Just after this session, go to this Firebase website, create an empty project, and see all functions that we get. Today, what we'll be doing is we'll be not coding from scratch. I have created one project, and we'll make a chat application, where we can do group chats and all, and we'll be using Firebase for as a backend, as storing our messages and the user data, okay. And also for the authentication purpose, we'll be using Firebase, okay. So if you go on GitHub, I already pushed this project on my GitHub. Okay, yesterday I did some changes and I pushed this project on GitHub. So let's just clone this repository. Okay, in our Android Studio project directly. Let's just clone this repository. uh, Open git bash, just type git clone, so and paste that URL over here, okay, of that repository. This will clone the repository in our system. Okay, and let's just open this project with Android Studio. Okay, let's just open this over here. This is, so fi- uh, it will take some time, I think. For until then, let's jump to the Firebase database. For that project that we have, I have already pre-built the Firebase database for that. Okay, so this one is the Firebase project that we'll be doing today. So let's open up this project. Okay, here I have configured everything. The earlier one which we saw, there we have not configured anything. So here I have configured everything. I have also added one project. As you can see here, this flash chat that we are getting, this is the Android project that I was running on my on our device. So let's just see in Android Studio. Okay, this gave us the README file first. uh, so we got the whole project over here. We cloned that repository. Let's just open up command prompt. First, let's just see how that whole app is working. After that, we'll go through the working whole code of that. Okay. Uh, okay, we need to import its dependencies because we just freshly imported this project. Just get dependencies. Open up your emulator. Which one should we? Let's just use this Excel 3A Excel. Okay. It is giving error because I just added this and we need to get the whole all dependencies that we had for this project. Dependencies that we used for this project are, let's go to the YAML file and see what dependencies we had. We had these 4 dependencies. Animated text grid, I'll show you why we use this. Firebase core, we need this dependency. Firebase auth for authentication purpose, and Cloud Firestore for our database. You can get this dependency at our pub.dev. Okay, go to the pub.dev website of that, and here just type Cloud Firestore. See, you'll get this dependency. um, this also has some examples over here. You can see these examples of you when you're integrating it with your app. Just copy this, and rest you know how to do add a dependency. I just copied it and pasted it over here. Okay, so I think the so our project is clean now without any errors. Let's just run this project now and see what we are getting. Okay, today I'm using this another emulator without notch. Okay, you can use anything that you want. This will take some time. Until now, let's head over to the code and see what we have. Okay, the traditional way of starting a Flutter project. Uh, we have this void main method, and here we have given a class or we are running the run into instead this run app function. We gave this class of the I named this flash chat. Okay, so here we have this material app. Okay, this is roots. What these roots is, this is something new that we saw. Okay, roots, think of it like when we navigate, instead we can give the names to that route. Okay, when we are navigating, normally we have like we write down the whole statement. Okay, so instead of just doing navigator.push, we can do this thing, navigator.push named we have. So here we have this push name function. So this name, whatever name you have given to that particular route, you have to just specify its name over here, and it will automatically build. Instead of using that whole Cupertino route and material route thing, we can also, if we have too many pages, we can use this named routes also. Okay, it will take some time to build. Okay, I hope the dependencies section are clear. We have to add these dependencies. One more thing we have to do in our app folder, we have to add this Google services.json file. You'll get this JSON file when you create a project. Whenever you'll add a project in your application in Firebase, you'll get this JSON file. You can download this file from there, and just add this inside this app folder. Okay, in this SRC section. We have to also do some changes in the build.gradle. In this build.gradle, we have to we have to enable multidexing, because multidexing, like if our project is having more than 7K or something functions, then we have to enable this multidexing. Don't worry this for now. Just remember, you have to enable this multidexing. Okay, and we have to apply these plugins over here in our build.gradle. uh, uh, this Google GMS, Google services. All okay. So yeah, these are the things we have to do in our build.gradle. Let's just close this for now. See, whenever you create a project in Firebase, you get this whole thing, the whole instructions. They give you whatever things you have to do. Okay. For iOS also, we have to add some stuff in this runner.plist file. Okay, here you have this info.plist file. Here you have to add some files for iOS also. So okay, whenever you go to Firebase, here in this add app section, whatever platform you'll choose, it will give you instructions what changes you have to do for that. Okay, so don't worry of that for now. You don't have to remember that. It will automatically give you the information for that. Okay. So I hope now our project is built. Okay, it is built. We have this project. Okay, let's just hot restart. See, here we can do two stuff. Either we can log in or we can register. Okay, I have used this little animation. Okay, for this text. So let's just first register. This will give us a group chat. Okay, or you can do more specifications in this. You can also, if you want a single person chat, you can also do that. For now, just log in. Okay, what email ID should we use? You can use anything. Okay, we use just example at gmail.com. You can use any dummy email ID over here. Okay. Password also you can do anything. I'll just give it 12345 6. Okay, then you can register. This will register you and take you to the chat screen. Okay, so this is our group chat. This was the I was testing before, so these are the messages I sent over here. If these are the messages from the other users. Okay, let's just send from this user. This is how you can send it. Okay, the message will automatically get updated in your screen as soon as they go to the database. Okay, in our database also, if we go and see, they are getting built. For now, let's just see our code, and then we'll go jump to our database. Okay, in our main.dart. Okay, so here I have given root. Initial root means what will be our first screen whenever our app will start. This initial root property would be like what will be our first screen. So here I have given this welcome screen dot id. So let's like I have given some names to these. Okay, you can give names according to your convention. Let's go to welcome screen. Okay, here I have 4 pages, so we'll be having 4 pages. Okay, first would be this welcome screen. Okay, let's just log out here. From here you can log out, go back. So this would be our first screen, our welcome screen. Okay, so let's just see what welcome screen has. And other three screens you can think. Okay, the login screen is the second one, registration screen is also one, and the chat screen, okay, that we just saw right now, that would be the fourth one. Okay, so we have four screens in our app today. Okay, let's just see what the code of our welcome screen. Okay, like there is no uh, fancy code over here. This is very simple. Okay, this is for animation, the color tween and all. Don't worry about these for now. Don't get into the complex animation stuff. This init state and all, just forget about this for now. Okay, so here what we have. See, I'll just show you the screen also side by side so you can easily relate. We have a simple scaffold widget. Okay, nothing fancy. The simple scaffold widget. Okay, so on login page, if you want to add the login option or register through Google, Facebook, what we have to do, again, nothing special. Go to your authentication in your Firebase console. Here, these are the user that have registered. Okay, in the sign in method section, I see I have enabled the email and password sign in. Okay, you can just open up whatever you want and enable it and add the respective dependency for that. Okay, suppose you are using Google sign in, so just go to Google Google sign in Firebase. Just search the dependency. I don't know what the name it has. It has, I think, for Google Auth or something. Just search Google. I don't remember the name of that dependency. uh, Firebase auth. Okay, see, this is a Firebase auth dependency. uh, Google see here, you can add this dependency. Okay, for this supports Google sign in, phone sign in, anonymously, GitHub, Facebook, Twitter. Okay, and here they have given it. Okay, see, here they have given this sample code. Okay, so this will automatically pop up that screen which we get. I am working on another app. I cannot show you for now, but uh, uh, if you want to confirm email via the email or OTP, again, if you want to do that, you can also do it. If you use the phone auth, okay, here they have this function of OTP and all. Okay, if you want to, if some of your user forgets about their emails and all, you can also just go here and you can send this reset password, so it will send a reset password email to them. Okay, if you want to delete any user, you can delete it from here. If you want to disable, if you want to block anyone, you can disable their account from here. Like, those are the later things. For now, just let's just stick to the basics. Okay, you can do anything or any of these over here. Okay, you just add this Firebase auth dependency. Okay, see, they have given, if you are using Firebase auth, you can how to use it. Okay, here they have given this sample code. Just go through this sample code. Let's just see for now how did we do that using a normal email password login. Okay, so this is our first screen. I was thinking that I'll also code and do some hands-on stuff, but that would have taken much time, and we don't have that much time. So that would I'll just take you through the whole code, because if I go on coding the whole thing, that would have taken like almost 4 or 5 hours, and that wouldn't be a feasible thing. You also couldn't just sit there and look at that while I code for 5 hours. So let's just go through the whole code. I'll make sure you understand every part of this app. Okay. So first, what we are going to see, what the first screen of our app. This is the first screen. Okay, we have this little animation for the our text. Okay, for that also we have added one dependency. So what we have, a normal scaffold. Okay, background color animation dot value, it will take this value from this animation function that we have created. But no issues, if you just want to give it your random value, you can also give it, let's just give it a red color. Okay, instead of doing some complex animation, let's just give some default value. Okay, Let's just hot restart it. Okay, it is now red. Okay, I am doing this to make sure that you guys are not getting confused in that animation stuff, because this is little bit tricky. So for now, let's not get into this. Once you start doing stuff, okay, you can also do animations. You can do it till any extent. Okay, that color tween and all. Okay, so background color. Okay, simple, a scaffold which has a background color of red. Okay, inside we have a padding widget of 20, which has a horizontal padding of 24 pixels. So it has given us padding. Okay, so inside this simple a column widget we have. Okay, we have used this hero animation over here for this logo. If you observe the flash, the lightning logo, whenever you click on login screen or register screen, whatever button you click, you'll get that neat little animation. Okay, uh, let's just hot restart this. Okay, so now just observe this flash logo that I have. If you click on the login button, see, you can see the animation. It is going. It is like coming up from that point. Okay. Let's just remove this red color. I think because of that you're not able to see that animation. Let's just give it a white color only. White would look neat. Okay. Okay, let's just hot restart once more time and let's see the hero. Hero, I told you for doing the hero animation, just wrap whatever element you want to merge inside the hero. Just wrap that thing inside a hero widget and give it a tag. Here I have given it a tag called logo. And just make sure what the pointer and the receiver, both of them have the same tag. Okay, here this would be the pointer and this is the receiver, in the another screen. So just make sure both of them are wrapped in a hero widget and both of them have similar tags. Okay, so yes, this is the hero widget that we have. Okay, for this, the typing effect that we are getting, for this I've just used this typewriter animated text dependency. Okay, you can go to this pub.dev and you can get that dependency. Let's just not get into it. You can also use the normal text if you want. Okay, after that I've used a sized box. Sized box has given us this empty space. Okay, otherwise they could have just stick together this button and this text. So I've given a normal size box, so they are separated by 48 pixels. Okay, after that this I've used this rounded button. Okay, normal very simple, a rounded button. And on here in this on pressed, I've given it a color of light blue. And on this login, I've used some styling for this button, but don't worry about the style. Just focus on the functioning for now. Okay, let's just separate this so this is a little bit clearer to you. Okay, see what we have done. We have used just two rounded buttons. Okay, we on whenever we press on this, we are pushing it to the other screen. Okay, if you go on this login screen, this will take us login screen. And if you press on that register screen, we're taken to the register screen. Now let's just see about the registration screen. Okay, registration screen dot dart. Okay, we have created this file for on this registration screen. Okay, we have a stateful widget over here because we are using this text field. So text field is not a static component. It is going to be changing whenever you add some text. Whenever you remove something, it is going to change. That's why it is not a static component. So that's why we are using a stateful widget. In the first page we used a stateless widget because everything over there was pretty static. Okay, so let's just see the code. Okay, for this we have two strings. Okay, one is for email and other one is for password. Okay, we have two strings, we have two string variables we have defined over here. And this more model progress hood is nothing. It is just kind of a circular progress bar that we get. Okay, after when we click on the register. Okay, so now we have a padding widget. Okay, this padding widget, let's see what we have. We have given a horizontal padding. Okay, What if every time we use a stateful widget, see, stateful widget consumes more processing power. Okay, so use it whenever you think it is necessary. Okay, because stateful widgets has three states. Okay, it has one init, it has one this init state. Okay, I showed you what is init state. Okay, init state is whenever we initialize that page, this init state is called. Okay, and it also has the dispose method. So whenever you dispose this page, this method is called. So it has three methods, and this built, this is the build method which builds our whole layout of the screen. So use this whenever you feel that you are going to have some dynamic things in your screen. Okay, at that point only use a stateful widget, otherwise stateless widget will work. But yeah, I also accept this key. Most of the times you have dynamic content, we are not going to post any static things, we are not going to put up any static things on our app. So yeah, that is also fine. You'll get a clear idea of this. Once you start doing stuff, you'll automatically get this thing that where should we use a stateful widget and where should we use a stateless widget. Okay, stateful widget is immutable, and stateful widget state sorry stateless widget is immutable, and a state wow a stateful widget is mutable. Okay, it can be changed, it can be molded according to our needs. A stateless widget is not immutable. It is, we cannot change anything in of it. Okay, like just go through the documentation. I'm telling this from the first day. Read the documentation which we had. They have written very neat documentation for every little thing that you can think of. Okay, Um, uh, and also like go through some YouTube videos. YouTube also have some good creators which they post some good content for Flutter. Let's see, focus on our page. Okay, for this hero flexible widget, don't worry about this for now. Flexible widget is just something, if we have given any hard coded height and if our screen size is changed. Okay, suppose I have a smaller screen over here, and this would overflow. Okay, in that case use a flexible widget. It will automatically adjust your the image or whatever component you have according to the screen size. Okay, so whatever you feel would can overflow. Okay, out of the screen. Okay, so at that time just wrap it inside a flexible widget. We also have one widget called expanded widget, you can also use that. Okay, inside it, what have we have a simple container. It has a child as an this image. Okay, and hero, we gave the same tag over here, tag logo, and we also on the main screen we also gave a tag, gave that hero widget a logo tag. Okay, empty area. Okay, text field, I have for taking the input from the user, I've used this text field widget. Okay, keyboard type also you can specify if you want to use the number keyword over here. Okay, you can use this keyboard type dot number. So if suppose in some condition you don't want any text, suppose you have a phone number field there, you can use the keyboard type. Oh, let's just do a hot reload, then we'll see the changes. Okay, if we again go to this, we get a number keyword. Okay, do we need to install Android Studio SDK separately for setting its path while working with VS Code, as it shows Android SDK not found after setting a path for Flutter? No, I don't think you need an Android SDK for that. Flutter gives you everything out of the box. Like just if you have read the documentation, they have given every step by step process. Okay, for all the three platforms. Okay, they have given very good documentation for that. So I'll suggest you just open up the website and go to their documentation. That would help. Okay, so yeah, wherever we were specifying the keyboard type. Okay, here we are, if we want a number we can specify, but what kind of input we want? We want the email input. No, so let's just give this keyboard type as an email address. Do a hot reload. See, now if we again open this, we get this @ sign over here. So yes, you can specify the keyboard type according to of your text field, whatever text field you have. So see on this, in this on changed attribute, what I have given, uh, in decoration you can specify in this decoration property, you can specify this hint text, okay, like it is like a placeholder, okay. So inside the decoration property you have this hint text, okay, you can write whatever you want inside a hint. So this is something to notice. In this on changed attribute I've written, whenever this will change, let's just assign the email variable, whatever value it is we are inputting over here. And email, what is, we know we have declared this email variable over here, okay. So so this will assign the whatever we type over there, this will assign it to the email. Let's just see if it is working fine. We'll just print the email, okay. After we change the text inside, let's see what happens with the what if we get the thing printed in our console, okay. I've done a hot restart, hot reload, okay. See, we are getting whatever we are typing over here, we are getting in the console. So yes, whenever this text is changing, it is automatically getting assigned to this email string, okay. So let's just remove this. Oh shit, here, let's just remove this whole stuff, okay. Same we did for the password password field, okay. We gave it a size box, so it gave us a empty container for of 8 pixels over here. For that we have used this size box, okay. See, this is one thing, also one more interesting property of the text field is obscure text. So if you're typing something like password and all, there you don't want other ones to see, so there we can use this obscure text. This will just give us the dot kind of thing whenever we type an password, so this will not show whatever we are typing, okay. This is one property in the text field that you can take a note of, okay. Again, decoration, in the decoration I have given this hint text, enter your password, so which we are getting as a placeholder. Sized box of 24 pixels for this empty area, okay. And then down here a simple register, we have for registering we have a simple button, a rounded button we have used, okay. And on pressed we have set this show spinner to true. This is, don't worry, this is some just that whenever we press that button, this will show the this will turn on the show spinner boolean. And here we have inside this modal progress hood we have specified that whenever the show spinner is show spinner boolean is true, it will show that circular indicator, okay. So here we have it, okay. uh, Rounded button, okay. Simple, we have used a rounded button, I think this is clear, okay. So inside this rounded button, I hope you know, whenever we press in any button, if you use in Flutter, we have this on pressed attribute, okay. We have this on pressed function in any button or gesture detector, this on pressed function over here. So they're just inside this on pressed function. First, what we are doing, we are setting the state. So set state, what this will do, this will go and explicitly turn the show spinner as true, so that it will show the circular progress indicator when we are like pushing our screen to the other one, okay. after that After that, we have used this try catch block. I hope you are familiar with exception handling. Like if you are doing programming, you must have. This is a very common like what should we call it? A common thing to note. Where if you are doing programming, we have this exception handling in all the programming languages. I think we have this try catch block. I think you must be familiar with all this. Okay. So here what we have done, we are using this. See, like we don't have to do any heavy code to for authentication. See, here we can use this inbuilt function of our Firebase. Here we have this function called sign in with email, sorry, create user with email password, okay. What this will do, this will go in our Firebase console and create the user of that respective email and password what we give it over here. Okay, so let's just go and delete all the users that we have. Let's just clean up our Firebase console. Just delete both of these users. Delete account. Okay. Delete this one also. Also, let's just clear up our database so that we can see everything from fresh. I have a few things in my database, so let's just clear up our database also. So I have this collection. I hope you guys are familiar with NoSQL databases, because this is like these are the market trends. Everyone is trying to replace their old traditional SQL databases with the NoSQL databases, because the NoSQL databases are very flexible. See, in a normal SQL database, you have the very strict rules. If you have a table which has four entries, there you can only add four entries. Okay. Here, suppose this is a table. Here we have flexibility. We can have whatever number of fields in one we call this a document in NoSQL. Okay, so in the document we can add any number of entries without any restrictions. So that's why we call it. It is very scalable and it is very flexible also. Also, if you want to expand this also, you can also do this. Okay, if you want to again start a sub collection over here, we can do this. Okay, so this will keep on nesting. If you want, just go through go through any NoSQL database. If you know, you have CouchDB, you have MongoDB, so you can try that in your local system. So so you'll get familiar with the properties of NoSQL databases. Okay, this is the cloud file store is also a NoSQL database. Let's just delete this collection. Whole collection we will delete. Okay, so that we can see everything from fresh. This prompts us to write this keyword before deleting, so that not anyone can delete it. Okay, we have deleted the whole database. I have also deleted all the users that we had in this authentication section. So let's just see what we have over here. Okay, so here, as you can see, I've used this attribute. I've just put it this inside a try catch block, so that if we get any exception, our application doesn't crash. That's why for handling that exception, I've used this try catch blocks. Okay, so see, I've used this variable called new user. Okay, I assign this. I give this new user as await. I hope you are familiar with asynchronous programming. Async and await means await. What this will do, this will not go to the next line until this process is finished. Okay, until this line is executed successfully, it will not move to the other line. If we remove this async, what this will do, if this process is taking little bit more time, it will automatically jump to the next line and we do the processing for that until this one is getting executed. But we don't want that. We want to execute this line whole code first. After that only we can use this if condition over here. Okay, so what we have done is final new user. We have used this ready-made method that we get in Firebase auth. Auth is a this is the instance of Firebase auth that I have created over here. Firebase auth dot instance. I have imported this Firebase auth package over here. So this is, I just created its instance. Okay, as we are using its class. So let's just go down and of this auth dot create user with email password. What this will do, this will create a new user in our Firebase database. Okay, Firebase authentication section. And after a user is created, only if a user is created and it is not null, it will take us to the chat screen. Okay, so this is, so you can note this. If the user is not null, then only it will take us to a chat screen. If there is some error, it will go to the catch block either, or it will just prompt us to do that again. Okay. Okay. So I think this much is clear. Okay. This is very easy. Nothing we have done. We have just used two simple text fields. Okay. We have an email and password, and on pressing this button we are executing this function of create user with email and password. This function comes with the see, as you can see, this is from the Firebase auth auth.dart. So you have to, that's why you have to import that dependency in your project for using this function. Okay. Let's just see if this is working or not. Okay. So let's just use some other email. Let's just use ABCD, anything you can use at ABCDEF at anything yahoomail.com. Okay, you can use anything. Password, anything you can give. Just give it any random password. Okay, and so this is clear. Okay, on register, let's just press this register button and see what we are getting. Let's just also open up this window so you can see side by side what is happening in the Firebase console also. Okay, so as soon as I register over here, okay, this will take some time. Until then it will show us a spinner. And yeah, our user is created. Let's just refresh this and see our user is over here. See, we got this user that we just created, abcdef at yahoomail.com. Okay, this is very simple. Okay, so this is a, this user is created here already. So we can also, if you want to just log in this user, you can use this login screen. Okay, so let's just go to the login screen. Okay, I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt, just post it in the chat box. Okay, someone's mic is on, please close your mic. So we are done with the registration screen. Let's jump to the login screen. Okay, this login screens.dat. Here also we have done the same thing. Okay, we have taken a Firebase auth instance over here. Okay, Firebase auth is Firebase auth instance we have created. Same thing, two strings we have declared. One is email and other one is password. Okay, so if you want to use check that email entered by user is correct or not. See, we are not using any standardized Gmail or Yahoo Mail thing over here. Okay, here you can put any this is specifically for our app, so you can enter any email. Okay, but that should be your email. Okay, and password also you are creating according to you. You want to do that thing, you can also do it. Okay, you can send a verification link to that email. For that also you have inbuilt function. For that I'll suggest just go to the documentation for Firebase. uh, Go to the docs. Okay, here they have given every little function, everything that they have. Okay, see, let's just for now they don't have uh, personalized documentation for Flutter. They have for Android, iOS, web, C++, Unity, and this. Okay, but you can read the web documentation because the web documentation is for JavaScript user. So the kind of coding we do in JavaScript is very much familiar to that. So you can go and read this documentation. See, here they have given for everything. For authentication, see, here they have given for this for web will go. See, here they have sent sign in with the pre-built UI. This we do not need. Okay, see, email authentication link, how to send the email authentication link, they have told us over here. Okay, we can see, we can use this function that they have given us. Okay, if you want to delete a created account, for that also they have the functions. There are lots of use cases. Okay, it is not feasible so that we can discuss about everything. Okay, there are lots of, we have this much of documentation, so there are lots of use cases for everything. So like we cannot just do this. Okay, so here, see, if you can see this, I'll just little zoom this little bit. See, here they have this function. Okay, Firebase auth, this is the same thing we have created instance. Here they have this function called send sign in link to email. So this will send the email to that, and by using that verification link we can sign in. Our user can also do that. Okay, but let's just not worry about it for now. Let's just simply focus on our simple app. Okay, so we were in the authentication section. Okay, what we are doing, we are logging in. Okay, so this is also a same screen. I think there is no change in the UI. the same screen, just the button color of this button is different. Baki the whole thing is same. We have used the same hero widget. We have given it the same tag. Okay. Sized box, text field. We have given two text field in which on changed we assign the email and password their values. Okay. Only one difference that we have over here is this. We have used this sign in with email password thing over here. Okay, this sign in with email password function, and in the registration screen what we did is we use another function. Okay, let's just split the screen so you can see both of the screens over here. Okay, see, if you can see this here, we have used this sign in with email password. Okay, here we have used the create user. What happens if we have already registered and tries to register again? That's why you have used this try catch block, so we can, if that kind of exception happens, this function will take care of that. You don't have to worry about that. This will automatically check if the user is there. If the user is not there, this will go in the catch block. Okay, and this will reprompt. For that reprompt also, we have not written the conditions for that, but you can write the conditions for that. Okay, if try catch, I hope you know, if you know exception handling, you must be getting this, that if this code fails, it will catch this exception. Okay, and do whatever process we specify in this catch block. Okay, for now I've just printed the error message whatever we have. Okay, so don't worry, this function that they have given us, that this will take care of that. Okay, okay, so if you want to see the code for this function, you can also see this code. Okay, see here they have written the whole code. Okay, no, try catch block is not similar to if else. Are you familiar with exception handling? Like exception handling is a very basic thing. It is there in every programming language. Exception handling, think of it like, see, exceptions are cases which we do not expect. Okay, and if an exception happens, our program gets terminated. Okay, if we also have to handle that kind of exception, we use this try catch block, or we also have a, we can also throw that exception using a throws keyword. Like this is a very basic programming funda. Okay, and it is there in every programming language, Java, C++, it is everywhere. Okay, so just go through that thing. Okay, what is exception handling, and this will be clear. Yeah, if else conditions, that are another thing. Okay, they have other use case, and this try catch blocks, these have other use case. Okay, so I hope you are clear. Okay, here we have used sign in with email password function. There what we have used in the registration screen, we have used create user with email password function. Okay, just this little bit difference is over there here. Okay, um, let's just see that the user that we created some time ago, if we can log in with that. What we have used is, let's just copy this email address, because uh, I don't think we can copy anything from our. Okay, what is this? Let's just manually type this. You cannot copy stuff over the emulator. What email thing? abcdef at yahoomail.com. Okay, abcdef at yahoomail.com. Password, I think it was symbol 123456. So this will verify if our user is present in the database, and it will sign in only if our user is there. Otherwise, it will not sign in. Okay. Otherwise, it will just show the circular progress indicator. Okay. I think I have entered the wrong password. That's why it is not signing me in. I hope this is clear. Okay. Uh, So this is both. I hope these both screens are clear to you. Okay, the login screen and the registration screen. Let's just jump to the main part, to the chat screen. Okay, what we have inside the chat screen. Okay, in the chat screen, let's just create a user and see what we have. I'm not remembering the password of that. That's why we're not able to log in over there. Okay, abc at Simple password, we just keep it 123 so that we don't forget it. Okay. So let's just see until then what code we have over here. Okay. Why is this not signing us in? Let's just do a quick hot restart. Okay, this CC here they gave us an exception. I told you in the try catch bro, it was not signing us in because we have error, this weak password error, exception we got over here. That's why it was not registering us. Okay, so Firebase also takes care of that thing. You don't have to worry about the password length and all. They automatically see if there is some issue like this, it will not register you. Okay. Let's just try it again and register with using a bigger password. Okay. Mm, uh, uh, we used a bigger password until 9. Let's see if this registers us for now. Yeah, this successfully registered us. We are on the chat screen now. Okay. So let's head over to the code for the chat screen. Okay. We'll see what we have inside this chat screen. So, do you know what is a stream? Stream is kind of a data flow. Okay. Think of it like it is like we are passing water through a pipe. It is a stream of water. Okay. Also, a same thing we can have over here because see, one thing what we can do is we can prompt the user to refresh to get every time they get a new message, or other thing we can do automatically pop up whenever they get a message. For that we use a stream. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you. Okay. Get current user, this is a method whenever we do authentication that will this will verify our email address, and it will store it inside this logged user variable. Okay, I've used this variable called logged user. It will execute this function and get the current user's email. Okay, so this is we'll execute this in the init state so that it completes that function before building the layout. Okay, so this is fine. What we have over here, we have a scaffold. Scaffold, we have given it a color of blue. App bar we have, okay, app bar, a blue app bar which has group chat as a title. Okay, here on this actions. Okay, actions is nothing, the buttons that we have on the app bar. So we just have one button over here. What this button does is on pressed, it just implements this function auth dot sign out. Okay, what this function will do, it will sign out the user. Okay, so navigate on it will after signing out, it will just do a navigator dot pop. Okay, it's fine. Okay, app bar is fine. Use the safe area widget so that if you have a notch, if you have a phone which has a notch, it doesn't our elements doesn't go out of our display. Okay, that's why we use the safe area widget. You can if you feel if something is going to be wrong, you can do that error handling using the safe area widget. You can just one thing, do the wrap the whole thing inside the safe area. Okay, inside this what we have used, just a normal container, this empty container we have for the chat screen. Okay, we have given it a color of gray. Let's just give it a color of white. White would look neat. Okay, gray is not looking so good. uh, okay, one white column widget. This column has the point to notice. This column has a message stream. Okay, what message stream is? I've created a function message stream, this widget for building the message blocks. Okay, for building our message bubbles. Let's just send one message and see what kind of thing we will be building when we send a message. Let's just send the random text. This kind of bubble structure we'll be getting for our message. Okay, so what this message stream will do? Okay, this will go in our Firebase database. Okay, this database, it will go over here and add this. Okay, no, this is for retrieving. First, let's just see how are we adding the message in our database. Okay, for that I have this function, I think. Okay, over there also I could have here, see, I've used down here I have a text field. Okay, if you see down here I have this text field. Okay, and here I have given a button. Okay, a normal, a circular button. Okay, a flat button. And in that what I've done is, first I have done this message text controller dot clear. What this will do, this will clear whatever text we have inside our controller as soon as the message is sent. Otherwise, see, if we don't have that controller, this will stay here. So after clearing, first thing what this will do, this will clear out our message container because the message is already sent. Okay, the other thing that we have over here. Okay, this firestore.collection.message. What this is just again a ready-made function by Firebase, just to create an instance of Firebase. See, I have created the Firestore instance. Okay, Firestore instance I've created over here. Over there we had a Firebase auth instance. Okay, so take care of that. I've created this Firestore instance over here. And see, in this I've just used this collection method. We'll specify whatever collection name that we are going to give. This is the collection message that we got. Let's just delete this and see what happens when we create a collection. Okay, we'll again delete the whole message section. Now our messages also got deleted, the two messages that we sent. So what this method is doing is, this is going to the Firebase database, and there in it is, if it already exists a messages collection, it will add this three fields over there in a separate document, and if it is not there, it will create a message. Okay, let's just let's just see in our console that how the data is we are getting. Okay, uh, okay, so this is our empty Firebase database. Let's just send something. Okay, let's just send hello everyone. Okay, one let's just send it. Okay, by pressing this button. Now let's just refresh our database. Okay, we'll just do a simple refresh. It will update automatically. If it doesn't update, I'll do just to refresh that page. Okay, so that it will get the whole. See, pehle it was empty. Now we have a created messages collection, and inside messages collection we have created one entry, and it has three fields. Okay, we have used this time, at what time it was sent, with the date is June 4 1 12 17. Okay, it because of this. Okay, this timestamp dot now what it did, it got the current time and date, and it just passed it on. Okay, so this we passed, and this text message, hello everyone, that we typed, and the sender. Okay, it also notes the sender whatever we had. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, I hope you are able to understand how did we wrote data. Okay, CRUD operation you must be knowing. So this was C part of that. We created the data. Okay, and for reading, let's see how are we reading the data in our this screen, because we are not directly, it is not hopping over here. It is going to the database, and whenever new message is added, it is automatically retrieving that and showing it on our screen. Okay, can we remotely delete any spam messages from Firebase? Yes, you directly have an option over here. If you don't want this collection, just go here, delete this document. Okay, this will delete it. Okay, now we have no message. Okay, you can do it. There are lots of things. Okay, let's just see how we are reading the data. Okay, as soon as the message is added, how we are getting the whole data. For that, we need something called stream. Stream, think of it like a continuous flow of data, and whenever something is added, it will automatically update us. Okay, If we use a normal feature builder, what that would have expected, that would have expected to refresh us every time we want to get a message. But stream, if we use a stream, we don't have to worry about that. It will automatically update us whenever a new entry is added, and it will automatically retrieve that data, and it it will automatically retrieve and build it in our chat screen. Okay, so for message stream, I've used this stateless widget, and this stateless widget I have used it over here. If you notice, see here, the first part of our screen is this container. Okay, and we've used this container for our messages. Okay, um, so this is a message stream. Okay, a message stream, what it expects, it expects a stream we gave it. Okay, firestore dot collection, again the same thing, we just created the instance of our Firebase dot messages. What collection we are targeting here, we have a collection whose name is messages. Okay, so we gave it the message name. Order by is the query. Order by, what this will do, this will order the messages according to the time. Okay, if you this in ascending descending order, whatever you have. Okay, if we don't have this order by query, what could happen, it could just retrieve random data, and our messages will not be in a uniform order. Okay, so that's why we just use this order by query. Okay, we have many queries over here. We have this, see, we have this get documents query, where query. What this will do, if you want to retrieve some very specific, like you have in SQL, we do select star from whatever table name we give. So there, if we are doing like select a particular name, select your name from that table. So this is something very similar. This, what this will do, this will go there, and wherever it finds a match for that, suppose I have a name, so wherever it will find that name for that match, it will just display that data. Okay, it will not give us the whole data, but for now we need the whole data. Okay, we cannot just have single data. Again, we have other method, we have add, end at. Okay, end before document, limit, snapshot, start after. These are all methods that will help us. Let us not worry so much about them. Talking about snapshots, this method, what this will do, this will give us the whole object, whole snapshots of the stream. Okay, and as soon as it is updating, okay, it will give us the data. Okay, builder. Okay, builder, we have put a condition over here. If snapshot has not like, if you can see, this is a reverse condition. If snapshot does not have a data, then what we'll do, we will return a circular progress indicator. Like, this is a simple. Okay, if our stream is not having data, it is null. Like, you can observe this whenever we just open up the page for first, it will take some time to go to that cloud server and get the data in our app. So that's why until it doesn't have data, it is null. We'll just return a normal circular progress indicator. Okay, and else we have written this condition. Okay, if it has data, we have given it some conditions over here, and else it will return this expanded widget, and it will return this message bubble. Okay, what message bubble is, say this is our message bubble. Okay, we are having a list of message bubbles, and for in messages we are just whatever snapshots we are getting, we are adding the data in the reverse order. Okay, we have two fields, so we can specify message.data from the field of text, and message.data from the field of sender. Okay, and current user, we can get the current user by the logged in.email. Okay, so this is fine. We just create, and after that what we do, we add it to the list of message bubble, and we create this message bubble. Okay, message bubble, for message bubble, but we have just used a material. If, see, this is a is me condition. Okay, what this condition, like, I have just declared a normal boolean over here. What is boolean will check if the user is the see, if I am the user, I am sending the message. I should get this inside this blue bubble, okay? And if this message is from some other person, it should get inside a white bubble, okay? Let's just see that, and I'll tell you. Okay, I have these two messages over here. See, I got two entries in my database. Let's just see what if other user logs us in. Let's just use some other email ID and log in once again. Register, okay, because we didn't have any here. See what this guy is getting. This guy is getting this white bubbles. If you can see this, okay, and if this is my own message, it will come under this blue bubble, okay. So these are just two conditions that we have put. If the if this is me, like this is my message, it should build this blue bubble. For that we have just used this border radius and all properties. See, if is me, we have used a ternary operator and give it a color of light blue, and otherwise just give it a color of white, okay. You can use any color. If you don't like white, okay, you can use like yellow color, let's or red color, okay. This will be in red color if it is some other guy's message, okay. See, we are getting this in red, okay, and it is not looking good, but still fine. See, here also we have given this condition that if for alignment, that cross-axis alignment dot end, if is me, like if that condition is satisfied, then this will render our messages at this side, like cross-axis alignment of that column, and this will from this end. And if it is some others message, it will show this on this side, show us in this side, okay. Cross-axis alignment dot start, okay. So I hope this is clear, okay. Text style, again we just it is just a styling for our text, okay. This is fine, okay. Stream, we saw what is a stream. Just start putting up your doubts in the chat box, okay. Any doubt if you have regarding any of the things that we saw now. uh, the source code is already on GitHub. This yesterday uploaded the updated one, yeah, okay. Like everything is just controlled by this stream, okay. We are not having any if we like, there are two types. One is the
Right.
someone's mic is on, please turn off your mic. We have two kinds of builders, okay. One, we have a future builder, and the other we have a stream builder. Future builder, what it does, it just gives us data in one time, okay. But if we want to update that data, we have to again rebuild the whole page, but we don't want that, right? So we use this stream builder. Stream builder, what this does, it gives us a continuous stream of data, and whenever something is added in that stream, it automatically gives us that data, and we build it in our screen, okay. Explain Firestore. Firestore is nothing. Firestore is a cloud database, okay. It is a ready-made database, okay. We don't have to do anything. We have that inbuilt functions that we used, okay, over here, like this order by and snapshot. These are all the functions that we get inside this Firestore package whenever when we import that, okay. So Cloud Firestore is nothing special. It is just a database, a NoSQL database. It is not a SQL database. Is Firebase paid? Then how are we using it for free? I told you Firebase is paid after a limit. Okay, they have some limit that you can do this much of read write operations in a day. For in a free plan, they have 50K limit that we can write 50,000 times, and for read and for write we have a 10K limit. We can write 10K times, and if after the limit exceeds, then we have to pay whatever the amount we have per that much read writes, okay. Like you can go to the Firebase website. There in their pricing section, they have written it for everything, okay. For the whole pricing plan they have, okay. It is like if you are using this for just for practice purpose, you can use it for free, because we are not going to do so many heavy operations, okay. So don't worry about the uh, paid thing, okay. uh, again, any doubts, please ask. Okay. Uh, After this, what will you do? Just uh, I'll share this GitHub link with you, and you guys just go through this whole code, okay? And see, I could have done any complex thing, but we stick to the basic because these are very important, like how to add data in the database, okay? And this is how we retrieve data. So if you get comfortable with these things, you'll automatically start doing some advanced things, okay? So that's why we built this simple chat application, okay? This is working fine. If this is me, it is building from this side. If it is with this message is from some other guy, it is coming on this side automatically, okay? uh, Come on, please put up your doubt in the chat box, okay? uh, I hope in this 5 day session you got a glimpse of Flutter. Like you can get started comfortably with Flutter now. I accept that we cannot do many things during in this 5 days. So I have tried to keep the curriculum as you can as you can be comfortable with starting. Okay. Exam, yes, exam will be today at 6 p.m. Okay. You'll get updates in our group. Okay. Unity course. If we get audience for that, we can also do that. For Java, we can join that. That will also going to be a very good session. We are we're going to do like JDBC and all. We are also Selenium. We'll be automating our website using Selenium. Okay, you can join that session. Exam time, we'll update you in the group, or they have told me it will be most probably 6 p.m. today. Okay, in the evening. Okay, that would be a very simple test. For You will have 10 questions. Okay. Sir, like in many apps, a rating pop-up window appears on clicking on Rate Now. Now it will directly open Play Store ratings. For that, what we have to do, it is nothing. Uh, you can use a URL launcher. Okay, you just copy your like you have a plugin for URL launcher, so you can copy that rater take it to like Play Store. Okay. See, URL launcher we have here. We can use these many things. We can directly pass an HTTP request, and we can open a default browser. If we also want to open a Google Map, we can also do that. Okay. Let's just, like we don't have time, but if you want to open up Google Map directly, like if you give its latitude and longitude value of your location, like any location you get using you can also directly fire up Google Map. It will automatically open Google Map. Make you have company's phone number, you can use this function that we get inside any example Google Map and places search show any example Google Map and places search show path between two locations. For that also you have a Google Map dependency over here. See, everything that you can imagine, you have a plugins in this pub.dev. You can go to this website and explore all the plugins. Okay. See, here we have developer Google Maps dependency here. And for every plugin, what good thing they have done is they have given the example code for that. See, for sample code for every plugin they have given. Anything you, if you want to think as you want to do, see if it already that function is available in the SDK. If it's not, just go to this website and you can find the dependency for everything. Okay. For showing the system details like processor, memory info, or draw over any app, how do we implement that? For showing the simple system info, again, Just go to here, type that if you want any, if you for plugin for that, like there are lots of them. Invoking system shortcut system. Then first see if it's if that, see here they have a plugin for this platform info. Here we can get all devices information. Okay, operating system type. Okay, like there are lots of things. You can explore this. Okay, how do we convert this app to a website? See, for Flutter app, uh, wait, I'll show you. Flutter web version is currently in the beta phase. Okay, so it is not stable. That's why whenever we if we are using the stable SDK, we will not get a web folder over there. But if you download the beta SDK, okay, there you'll by default get a web folder also created. Okay, let me see in this website if they have for that. Uh, let's just search over here web. First, they named this web part as Hummingbird, but after some time, they found that this doesn't make any sense. So they named it Flutter Web. Okay, see this web support for Flutter. Open up this. See here they have given documentation. See here they have written over here that this functionality is still currently in the beta phase. It will be live soon. Okay, yeah, the code will be same. Okay, it see this what this will do, this will take our Dart code and convert it into JavaScript code. Okay, uh, can we create a simple game like Pac-Man using Flutter? Yes, you can absolutely do that. That is also very easy. Okay, how to convert this app to a website? We don't have to do any special stuff for converting it. Whenever we create a whenever we'll create a project, it will automatically give us a folder for that. Once what we say, this is in a stable form. Okay, now it is still in the development phase, so it will say take few months maybe. After once it comes when it becomes stable, it will be included in the SDK. Okay, but if you want to do it for now, you can also do that. Okay, you can also like use it using the beta SDK. Okay, you can also for the Mac OS also you can do it for Firebase for desktop. If you search over here, it will give you information about the desktop. Okay, see desktop Flutter for desktop support of Flutter. So it will give us, see currently they are working for Mac OS, and this is in the alpha form. Here they have released, which is available in alpha release. So this is also in a development phase for now. Once these things get stable, it will be available in the SDK directly. Okay, but if you still want to use this, you can see this is how you switch channels. For now what we were doing is we were using the stable channel, that's why it was giving us just the Android and iOS part. But if you switch to the beta channel or the alpha channel, you'll get it. Okay, here they have given us. Okay, how to transfer this app to our mobile. For transferring that app to your mobile, what you have to do is first build that app. Okay, go to your go to your let's just quit this. Whatever app that you are currently working, you have to build it. Okay, so for that you have this Flutter. For that you have this Flutter built function. Okay, so by using that Flutter build, it will create a release APK file, or for iOS also you can specify whatever you want. It will create an APK file for that. Okay, and you can directly use that. Okay, put up your questions for exam. Uh, there are easy questions, very subjective questions we have made. There would be no much of technical questions over there, so that would be pretty easy. Okay. Uh, just ask your doubts quickly. uh, हाँ what about Flutter Web? Yeah, I just told you. Okay, Flutter Web is in the beta form. It is in the development phase for now. So yeah, once it gets stable, you will just have to update your SDK. Okay, and now what we are getting two folders, right? For Android and iOS, it will also give you an web folder. But uh, if you still want to try out the web part, you can switch to the beta channel and you can also do try it. Okay, in YouTube you'll find many tutorials for web. The code is going to be the same. We don't have to worry about the code. But yeah, you can do it. What we have to do to release our app to Play Store? First thing we have to do is make an running app which do not have any bugs, because like on Play Store, App Store, there are some rules. You can just upload any app over there. They do test our apps. Okay, so you have to take. I think you have to take a developer account if you are using Apple. For iOS, for App Store, you have to take a developer account that costs around $99 per year, and for Play Store you get it by something like $45 or $25. It is a one-time pay, okay? And you have to generate some key files. You have to generate the SHA certificates for our app, okay? And that would work, okay? For that also, you can just go to the documentation of Android, good or Play Store. There you'll find the whole documentation for that, okay? And that apk file we have to copy paste in your mobile. Yes, you can directly put it in your mobile and install it. Or if you're planning for creating something good for the Play Store, I told you how to post it on your Play Store, okay? For that also, I think they have in the Flutter website how to prepare our app for a release, okay? See, release APK they have given over here. How to create build using iOS. I told you after for that build command, you can specify the type what are creating. If you are creating APK or the for the iOS, okay. See, here they have in the Flutter.dev website they have written this article that how to prepare our app for Play Store. Okay, you have to do some things. You have to use this. You have to generate this key store key and all. Okay, from there here they have given step by step things what we have to do for Play Store. But App Store also they have given it. Okay, don't worry about that. First, build some app, build some good projects. Okay. Uh, let's just close our browser. Okay. Well, how do we create IS? I told you, okay. Um, like from now, what should be your learning path? I'll tell you. First, start with any, like if you want to go on YouTube, you go on YouTube also. There are many very neat tutorials. You can follow them, okay. Or if you want to take any paid course, go on Udemy, Coursera, something. There also you'll find very good courses, and just try exploring every bit of it, okay. Like there are lots of things as there are lots of widgets that we can use, okay. Once you start doing it, you it will automatically get in your mind, okay, and you'll automatically know everywhere every thing that we have to use, okay. uh, what is the method for using hardware such as camera? There are inbuilt methods for that, okay. If you feel anything, like just go on Google and search, okay. If you have any doubt, go over here, search, okay. you'll get uh, you'll get explanation for it, okay. Like there are thousands of use cases that we can do. You couldn't just remember everything, but yeah, if you know how to build the code, if you know the logic, uh, you can easily do it, okay. First, that's why I was telling you, first get comfortable with that, okay. How to use camera in See here, everything you'll find on the website. Okay. For that also we have given required dependencies. Okay. We need this path provider dependency, and we have to just use this simple function final cameras available cameras dot first. Okay. We can use this inbuilt function and we can start the camera. Okay. Like anything that you feel, just go to their website. Okay, they have written like more than we can imagine. They have written every use case of everything. Okay, app logo, I told you. uh, Certificates, yes, you'll get it after the examinations, I think. I'll talk to the management team. They'll update you everything in the WhatsApp group, and for exam also they'll update you for everything. Okay. App logo, someone asked. That is very easy. I think I told you yesterday also. Go in your app folder here in SRC main. In this res folder you have this folders. Okay, here you can you can uh, you can specify the PNG files or that logo for different sizes. These are 5 folders for 5 different sizes. Okay, because you have to specify it for every size, so you can do it from here. For iOS also, I think I told you yesterday. iOS also you have to do the just go to the iOS folder. In this runner we have this assets.xcast folder. Here we have this launcher image ka folder. Here we can define the PNG logos and all whatever we want. Okay. Yes, today's video we'll share it on YouTube. Okay. We have recorded it. Okay. Uh, Ask me like what if you are continuing with Flutter, what things you need to know. Like if you are confused about that, ask that things. Okay. If you feel like in this 5 day you think that Flutter is your cup of tea, what learning path should you follow? If you want something like that, like please post it on the chat box. I will talk about it. Like it will take time. I'll minimum I'll say, if you want to be a complete master, it will take minimum 2 to 3 months, according to your like learning speed. Okay. See, a learning path, I'll tell you. Like when I started Flutter, like it is a very new thing. I didn't knew about it much, but I just was searching, and there I came across this. So first, I followed some tutorials on YouTube. Okay, on YouTube I saw some basic tutorials, and then they were very confusing for beginner. If you're following YouTube tutorials as on a beginner level, they are very confusing. Some of them are very good. Okay, and after that I took a Udemy course. Okay, on Udemy I took a course of Angela U. Okay, I'll show you on Udemy. If you want to do it, you can do it. It is a nice course. So I took that course on Udemy, and like then I used to do some projects in my company also. So there I learned धीरे धीरे every use case of everything. Okay, the only way of doing that will be like you have to just focus on playing around the widgets. Okay, there are lots of them. Just open up any single screen application and try using every widget. Okay, just go to the documentation, and there you have the list of the widgets. Okay, just go there and start trying out every widget. Okay, that would build your confidence also, and that would be very much enough to boost your confidence. Okay. um, and for Firebase also, there are very good tutorials. If you want to integrate Firebase with Flutter, for like it is not feasible that I tell you every use case, every kind of use that you can do in a 5 day series. Like that, if we also if we also do it for 2 months, I think that also wouldn't be enough for that. So yes, I'll tell you, just start learning up on your own. There are so many things that you can see. Okay. So I hope everyone's doubt is cleared. So like, should we wind up for today? Today there is no management fellow to stop us, so we can continue if you want. If you have any doubts, you can ask us. The management team will tell you about the exam and all. Okay, I'm telling you, okay, it will be on 6 p.m. most probably. Okay, and for the Java webinar, if you want to do that, you can also do it. And if you have any friends who are interested in learning Java from scratch, we are going to do that. Okay, we'll do everything, the object oriented concepts of Java, and some advanced concept like the bare bones of Java. We'll look into everything. Like most probably I would be taking it. Okay, so, or if I am busy, but yeah, like I think most probably I would be only doing it. So yeah, if you want to join that, when does the Java course start? Course is starting from 12th of this month. Okay, today is what? Today we are 4. So 12th of this month we are starting with. It will be a 6-day session, and the cost is only 99 rupees. Okay. So yeah, 99 rupees you can join it. Okay. It will be a very informative session. Okay. Yeah, we'll share the Java forms and all in the group. We'll share the whole details of the seminar, what we'll be doing day by day. Okay. So yeah, you guys can join it. Also, if you have any of your friends, just let them know that we have this little seminar. Okay. Sir, can we do ML and DL operations in Flutter? Yes. If you have, if you are a machine learning expert, you can start implementing those things in Flutter. And in Firebase, I told you, you get this ready-made functionality. Okay, for ML kit, I told you what there. So that is an ready-made functionality that we get in Firebase. So you can use that ML kit. Okay, so where is it? Where is it? Here in Firebase, we have this ML kit, so we can implement various machine learning models without any experience. That's why it is so easy. Okay. So yeah, if you are going through the documentation, read the ML kit. We can build a very good things, and that too with a very less effort, without having much advanced knowledge about ML. Okay. Separate course for core Java and advanced Java. Yes, we will be having separate course in 6 days. In the starting 2 days, first day we'll be doing all the core concept, like starting from the Hello World program, how to write a Hello World program in Java. We'll start from that, and we'll move forward accordingly. On the second day, we'll move a little bit further. We'll do the object oriented concepts of Java. Okay, or every the 4 object oriented main concept that we have in Java. Okay, third day we'll do some practice over it, and in advanced Java we'll be doing Java database connectivity. How can we use Java code for communicating with our local database in our computer. We'll be doing that in JDBC. And sixth day, we'll be doing Selenium automation. If you know, Selenium is a web testing framework. It is widely used. If you go in any MNCs, they use it for automation testing. So they just write the test cases for it, and they it automatically tests the whole application. Okay, so we'll be looking into it also. We'll just take any website and we'll try automating it using Selenium. Selenium is also there in Python. There you can, if you know, and it is also in Java. So it's up to our convenience what we use for it. We'll stick with Java for that. Okay. Is there any course for Spring Hibernate? Spring Hibernate is a very huge topic to cover up. Okay, it will require a separate session if we try to do it with the Java, and you can also try it. But like for this session, we are not planning for that, because that is a very huge topic to cover. Like, and in that we also have to care about the front end part, or like not, if we leave the front end part also, then also that it is a huge topic to cover. You know Spring. There are many things in Spring. Also, we have that aspect oriented programming, IOC, MVC. We have lots of things. We also have Spring Boot. So it will require a different session. If you guys are interested in that, we can also plan for that. We can do that. Okay. uh, I hope most of you must be from colleges only from third year, fourth year. So yeah, if you learn these skills, that it would be very good to if you write it in your resume. Okay, first year, yes sir. First year students are also taking interest. It is very good. I'm not also very. I'm also not a graduate. I'm also still in second year of my college. Uh, I'm in Ferguson College, second year. I just like finished my second year. I was doing this programming stuff, okay, for when I joined this company. So like got the experience from there, and धीरे धीरे I started doing it. Okay, I used to work on Java earlier, and then I came around this Flutter, and I started doing for Flutter. Okay. Okay, I'm also a BCA student first year. Yeah, if you do BCA, you get a lot of time to explore such things. In engineering, you are very limited to that things. Okay. So yeah, like I wish all of you best of luck for your learning curve. Are you from Pune? No, I'm not from Pune. I'm from Nagpur. But yeah, I study. I am in Ferguson College. Okay. Uh, okay, so I wish all of you very best of luck for your learning in Flutter. If you like, you can continue Flutter. I told you, follow some good tutorials on YouTube, or if you want to take any paid courses, you can go on Udemy, Coursera. There are very good courses over there. Okay, so okay, sir. Okay, so we'll wrap up for now. Okay. So goodbye everyone. I hope you start doing Flutter also. I hope I was able to give you some glimpse of Flutter. I know I was not able to cover up many things. Like there are lots of things to do, but still we did what was necessary to get started with Flutter. From now you can uh, you can you can go with that. Okay. Uh, if you feel Flutter is your cup of tea, do go with it. Also, if you are little bit discouraged that I'm not getting this, I'll suggest you also try some other frameworks. If you are coming from the web background, React Native is also a very awesome thing to try out. So yeah, just try out different things and keep going. Okay. So let's finish up for today, and we'll update you about the examination. Okay, in the group. I'll talk to the management team. They'll tell you every for in detail. Okay. So chalo then. Bye everyone. uh, if you are there in the Java session, we'll meet again. We'll also learn some good quality Java over there. Okay. So let's finish up this meeting. Okay. So chalo, let's finish up this meeting.